Part two of a sister not being the best mother in the world, and sorry, I had to clean off the lens. Choosing her baby daddy over her boys. Anyway, from what I was talking about a little earlier, Cody, the baby daddy, ended up being in prison because put in the pokey because of having like firearms and drug stuff and all that. Anyway, he was the main breadwinner of all of them because Cody wouldn't allow her to go anywhere, so he kind of isolated all of them up on this mountain in Coburn, Virginia. We call it Mount Crumpet, like from the Grinch movie. So, as I said, my mom and Danny, Hummingbird, would help them out in a good way, give them at least 2 cars, for the both of them, but they're not grateful to the fact that both my mom and stepdad helped them tremendously, and what they got in return was ungratefulness. And my sister is away from Cody's grandmother, Lynn, and his papa, Terry, who are clean as a whistle, and they have custody of Cody's brother's oldest daughter, who is a drug baby. And as y'all know, drug babies always have it rough, Once they get older, their teeth start to get a little rotten, obviously, and Danny is her name, and she's, from what I've heard, been bullied because of this, and she has a younger brother named Jackson, I guess, who's a drug baby too, and they have a little sister, I guess, and so Lynn and Terry have custody of, I guess, both Jackson and Danny, the girl, Danny, and I'm worried for my boys, my nephews, and for their cousins, and of course my sister, I worry for my sister, it's natural, and I do still worry about her, and she makes her choices, and but they are not the best choices in the world, and she's gone through a lot of hardship in her life, and I'm not gonna get into that. All I'm gonna say is that she's gone through a lot of hardship in her life. So the choices that she's made are not good. And they're not choices that are good for her, and they're not good for both her boys. She's choosing a man who's in jail for having firearms and possible drugs and other stuff that he's not supposed to have. And as I was gonna say earlier, that at the house that they live in on Mount Crumpet, they have pot, meth, and several more guns, and one was, as my mom called it, hot. So I'm guessing that means that it's been recently fired or something. And Mom was asking her, is Cody doing some heavy duty drugs? And once my sister said that they have, like, marijuana and something something and meth, and I went, just went like this with my hand, and, I kind of, knew that Cody would end up in jail. I mean, I know Mom knows that too, but I know that Mom hopes and prays that my sister will get out of that situation, but I told her the other night that she chooses Cody, the baby daddy, over her boys. Like, her sons are not on her radar. They're not. The only person that my sister cares about is their father, Cody, who's in jail. And she does not have the money. Only Cody has the money because he worked as a mason, and I don't know if he has a job now, but like, people who work generally get stimulus money, and my sister, she doesn't work because Cody has her at home, and she doesn't. The only amount of money she has is like $300 some odd, and this was like Saturday, this past Saturday, last weekend, and my sister, me and my mom went to the urgent care in Johnson City because all the other urgent cares are Ballad Health, and my mom's insurance doesn't cover that. The Ballad doesn't cover Ballad Health, so she would have to pay out of pocket for the Ballad Health urgent care. So we went all the way to Johnson City to go to the urgent care. And my mom was peeing blood. And, so the doctor said, I think, said it wasn't kidney stones or anything, but it could be like a UTI or something. So she was prescribed antibiotics and like 2 bottles of antibiotics or something, and to help. So I guess my sister called before or after we got to or left from the urgent care in Johnson City, and she said that Cody did not have a bond, but she was gonna try and bail him out. And I'm just sitting there listening to all this, thinking my sister does not realize that she's choosing a man who's chosen a life of drugs and illegal criminal stuff. And she's not choosing the boys, which she gave birth to. And she's all but abandoning them for a man that does not at all love her. And, with what happened to her, this particular hardship, my dad had put this hardship on her, and trigger warning, but I'm just gonna call it this particular hardship. But this made my sister feel, after what our dad did to her, made her feel like no man would love her the way a normal man would. Now, one of her exes, a kid that we went to high school with, his name's Joe, and he gave all the love that he had to her, and she just. It was kind of like water off a duck's back with her. Like, she gave him hell just because he was giving her the most positive love that he could possibly give her, and she was downright mean to him. And they've been together for about a year or so, and that was the most healthy relationship that she's had, that she had turned down because in her head that kind of positive love is not the type of love that she deserves. So she chooses a man, Cody, who has the most unhealthy way about him, I guess. As I said, he comes from a family of drug addicts, and his father's this nut job sovereign, whatever. And he believes in his own state, as sovereigns go. And his father's name's Rodney. So Cody's dad, Rodney, gets in trouble a lot. I mean a lot. He has a rap sheet that goes, I guess, till he was a kid, I guess. But I'm sure he has a really long rap sheet of being in jail, being behind bars, and his mother's no different. I mean, I don't know if she's a sovereign or not, but his mom, Holly, does drugs too, and his brother does drugs, and as I said before, his whole entire family, besides excluding his grandparents, Lynn and Terry, they're clean, but I think they enable them to a certain extent, I guess. And this is me coming from experience with an alcoholic father and watching tons of intervention growing up. So my sister is like not the best mom, and I know that there are parents, fathers, mothers that aren't at all the best parents. And but for my sister, she has the mentality of that of a young child still, like mentally that of a young child, like 7 or something. And my sister thinks that I knew that my mom and I knew about this particular hardship. And for me, I never knew this sort of action, this particular hardship. And just so I know, it has something to do with sex. And the adult will most likely go to jail for that, doing that to a child. So she blames me for knowing this particular hardship, and we went to the CAC, and it's a child advocacy center, CAC, and I told we went to the CAC to talk to therapists about um, our problems, um, what happened here, there, anywhere, everywhere. And, um, and I mean, for me, I've always seen, um, therapists. And I asked my mom one time as to why I always saw therapists growing up. She said because of me having anxiety um, and just being the anxious and nervous type of child that I was. And I'm still anxious and nervous, but then this one other time, um, I went to go see a doctor. This was a female therapist, and because I was having a hard time, with my stepdad at that point, and so I talked to her for a good while, probably about a few months, and I told her about my sister's particular hardship, and I said to her that I didn't know that this happened to her, and that she blames me for knowing, which I never knew, because I was that kind of kid that mainly stayed in her room or was outside playing in the mud, just being a kid, playing outside or just playing with her toys, brushing Barbie's hair, whatever, and I never knew any of this happened at all. I did not. And if I knew, I would have told somebody, but honest to God, I've never knew that this happened at all. And I think that attributes to how she's acting now and how how her behavior is. Like, let's say if I said that the leaves on trees were green, and she said, no, they're brown. She's the kind of person that'll argue with you about anything, And, like, if I researched something and she'll argue about it. Like, she'll downplay on what I said, on what I researched. Like, Rojas, like, Rojo means red, and I did look up the last name, too. It means red, and she was like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't mean red. And she's that kind of person that just wants to make an argument. And, I don't know if that's a peacock or some other bird. Sorry, I'm hearing it like an oh. So I don't know if that's like a peacock or what. But anywho, she's that type of person that would start an argument on like if you say that you went to such and such place to eat, like say La Carreta or Olive Garden or just one of those two places to eat, and you got like say a special number 13 or something, or some enchiladas, and she'll say, no, you didn't get that enchilada, or something like that. And like if you said, oh, I went and done this, and they had such and 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 such, and she's like, they don't have that, when in fact that they do. And she's become miserable, and she's like one of those people that after what life has dealt them, they, you have a choice on becoming. It's like you go to a fork in the road or something. Like a fork in the road, there's a road that goes left and there's a road that goes right. And it's kind of like that jazz singer from the early 1900s where I think his name was like something Johnson or something, or Jackson or Johnson. Um, but anywho, this blues singer who's black. I have nothing against black people or any person of color. But anywho, if you go to this fork in the road, the left is all the negative decisions that you. Let's just say that's the negative path. The left is the negative. The right is the positive. So my sister kind of went down towards the negative side, which is the left. And she chose to be miserable. And she kind of is like a vampire trying to just suck in the life out of everything that has life. Like say if you have a party and you invite her and she sucks every ounce of positive energy out of the atmosphere. And I know I'm being cruel by saying this, but you have not lived with my sister for most of her life. I have lived with her for 17 years. My mom gave her the decision when she was 17 to move out. And my sister says that mom kicked her out, which is a total lie, because I heard their conversation. My mom did not kick her out. I did not hear her say the word, "I'll kick you." I did not hear her say, I'm kicking you out, I heard her say, it's your choice to move out or not, or I'll let you move out, that sort of thing. Or you can move out, whatever. It's been a long time ago, but she did not kick her out whatsoever. My sister chose to move out at 17. And I'm sure she still blames mom for kicking her out of the house when we lived in Fall Branch. And my sister's the negative Nancy that you don't want to hang out with because she's like sucks the life out of everything. She yells at her boys just because she can, and they're being boys, they play, siblings fight, they fight over toys and they fight over God knows what. And they hit each other, they pinch, poke, and Caden, he's like whenever me and mom have him, Caden does real good, and he minds good sometimes, and sometimes he does have bad days whenever he's over here with us in Bristol, Tennessee. And Kaysen, the youngest one, yes, the youngest one's name's Kaysen, and anywho, the youngest one is like, he's all hands, like he'll get his hands on everything, like if you have something plugged into the wall, he'll unplug it, and he gets grabby and fingery with everything. I know that sounded bad, but I call him Mr. Grabby, because he, like I said, he gets into everything. And I know kids do that, I've taken care of of both of them. And I think my sister favors the youngest one, the little brother, more than she does Caden, because she feels like I'm the favorite out of both of us, because because I'm the one that's the good kid and she's the bad kid, and I told Mom this, and she said I don't have a favorite, and my sister thinks that I'm the favorite, which honestly I don't think I am at all. I don't think that. And I don't know where my sister got that. I guess because of when our dad put this particular hardship on her, she thought that that was probably the reason why she thought I was the favorite, because he did not target me, but he targeted her. And I'm like, how can I be the favorite one when Mom doesn't have a favorite? Like, I don't understand that. For me, the only time I ever got in trouble was when I was like in the first grade, and I got in trouble for talking. Now, I don't remember that at all. And my sister's the kind of person that that would, I don't know, just blame you for God knows what. She blames me, like I said, for knowing what happened to her. And I told my therapist, that I never knew, and I told Mom that I never knew that this happened. And I told my sister, I think I did tell her, that I never knew about this, because if I knew, I would have said something. And, so, I don't know where she gets this, thought process, and, I mean, I do want to understand why she thinks this way, but at the same time, we don't have that sisterly relationship. We've never had that. Never. We've never been close. Never been. And we just never had that sisterly bond that most siblings have, And we don't really talk to each other at all, so the only time she ever calls me or talks to me is when she wants to talk to Mom. And that's like the only thing that's the only thing she has to do with me, unless she wants me to take care of her two boys. And that's about it. So I'm just like a slab of meat that she just ignores. But I mean, we don't have that, as I said, that relationship. I mean, I'm fine with that to a point, but it is what it is, to be honest with you. I mean, anyway, about the baby daddy. She told Mom the other night that she got him a lawyer, and she was going to bail him out. And then I asked 2 times, with what money? The only type of money she's got is like $300 some odd to her name, and she basically abandoned her 2 boys to their great-grandmother, Lynn's place. And I told Mom one time we were in the hot tub that these boys, my 2 nephews, are going to have some major issues once they get older, because Their mom is not, their parents aren't at all paying them any, they're not getting attention from their parents. They're not getting the love that they should get from their parents. They're basically going from place to place, here with me and my mom, and to Lynn's, their great grandmother's place, and I guess with my godmother too, but they haven't really been there with my godmother a whole lot because my godmother is busy taking care of, I think she's like a social worker or something, so she helps with children with disabilities and stuff. So these poor little boys, my poor boys, are going from place to place, and they love that they should get from their parents, they're not getting it. So my mom and I are giving them enough love, because I don't want them to, well, let me take that back. My mother and I want the best for both boys, and my mom has told my sister that she needs to get out of there for herself and for her boys. And my sister's like, oh, I know, Mom. But she never gets out of that situation. She chooses to stay in a place where there's violence, where there's drugs, and God knows what else. And my nephew has verbally said out of his mouth that he wants to be like his Papa Rodney. And my mother was like, Caden, she's like, Caden, you don't want to be in jail. You don't want to be like Papa Rodney. So she explained that jail is not where you want to be. Jail is a bad place. And the environment that I heard this saying the other day, children live what they learn, or something like that. And I thought that was the most honest thing that I've heard from anybody. And children learn from what they live, and they, honest to God, do. For me and my sister, we learned that